Chapter 2496. He is very young. Lan Haichuan left, and Lin Moyu looked at the invitation in his hand. The invitation was very exquisite, entirely light golden in color, with no text explanation. In the lower right corner of the invitation there was a pattern, a blue sea, which is the symbol of the Lan family. The pattern emitted a trace of primordial aura, indicating that the pattern was made by grinding primordial materials into powder and then making ink to draw it. Lin Moyu felt a special primordial aura contained within the pattern.
This is probably an anti-counterfeiting measure, to prevent others from forging it. I just arrived and have no connection with the Lan family, so why invite me to the banquet? Many people entered Linhai City yesterday, and there are quite a few deities in the city now. I am just a low-level deity, not noticeable at all.
Lin Moyu didn't know why the Lan family invited him, but he also knew that he was not the only one invited. However, from Lan Haichuan's words, he could sense that the Lan family had no malice. He had just arrived on the primordial continent, so he did not refuse face-to-face. Going to take a look and listen wouldn't hurt. Lin Moyu left the courtyard and walked into the streets of Linhai City. The primordial sun hung high in the sky, looking like a fireball within reach, but it was not hot. Instead, it was considered a sunny day.
According to Senior Ting Shuiji, the closer to the center of the primordial continent, the stronger the power of the primordial sun, and the higher the temperature. I am now in the southernmost part of the southern continent, close to the boundary sea, so the temperature here is not high. However, the power of the primordial sun is too strong to be used for cultivation at the moment.
Linhai City was bustling, with shops of all kinds lining the streets. The shops sold various items, including materials, elixirs, and delicacies. These delicacies were not ordinary but related to cultivation, either enhancing cultivation or being particularly delicious, unaffordable for ordinary people. Lin Moyu noticed that many shops belonged to the Lan family, with unified names. Lan's materials, Lan's elixirs. Below the signboards, there were also unique marks of the Lan family, indicating that these shops were Lan family properties. As the lord of a city, it was not surprising that the Lan family owned these businesses. Moreover, the Lan family also managed the market in Linhai City, gaining substantial profits. Just these alone made the Lan family earn a lot. In the city lord's mansion, the head of the Lan family, Lan Qingjing, was sitting in the main seat, and Lan Haichuan was reporting,
Patriarch, the invitation has been delivered.
Lan Qingjing had a few traces of seriousness between his eyebrows.
Tell me, what do you think?
Lan Haichuan said,
He is a low-level deity, but he is very young. How young?
Lan Qingjing raised his eyebrows. The term young was very broad. Lan Haichuan thought for a moment.
I can't tell his exact age, but he feels like he shouldn't be over 5,000 years old.
Lan Qingjing believed Lan Haichuan's words and muttered to himself,
A low-level deity under 5,000 years old is indeed very young, seemingly a young genius. No wonder he could trigger the lunar primordial yesterday. This time, our Lan family has paid a considerable price, hoping to gain something.
Lan Haichuan said.
With the Patriarch's leadership, there will be no problem.
Lan Qingjing accepted the compliment calmly.
Go prepare first. In 2 days, let me meet this young genius.
Lin Moyu walked through the streets in the south of the city and entered the west. The layout of Linhai City was clear. The south mostly had shops, inns, and restaurants. The north was the market, with many trading markets, subdivided into different categories. The east was mostly residential areas, where most people in Linhai City lived, including the city lord's mansion. The west was the most special, with grand buildings like palaces. Some buildings were even grander than the city lord's mansion, and the Lan family, as the city lord, did not dare to manage them, instead tacitly acknowledging their existence. Those who could build palaces here were all forces from the primordial continent, each far surpassing the Lan family, incomparable to the Lan family. Lin Moyu came to the west of the city and immediately felt an unusual aura. The primordial aura here was very strong, with many powerful beings. Lin Moyu walked on the street, observing quietly.
Elixir Association. Master Craftsman Association. Fisheries Alliance.
Each building represented a force. Lin Moyu noticed that under each signboard, there were some star-like patterns.
What do these stars mean?
Lin Moyu muttered to himself. At this moment, a soft voice came from beside him.
The stars represent their power levels.
Lin Moyu turned to see a little girl, about 10 years old, clean and tidy, with big, bright eyes. Her clothes were a bit old, with many patches, but also very clean. After entering Linhai City, Lin Moyu had seen some children. Most of these children were doing okay, starting to cultivate at around 10 years old. Some with good talent already had some cultivation. But this little girl in front of him had no cultivation at all and seemed to have many hidden illnesses. Seeing that Lin Moyu did not drive her away, the little girl gathered her courage.
Sir, I grew up in Lehigh City and know a lot about it. I can explain things to you, and you just need to.
Lin Moyu showed a slight smile.
Just need what?
The little girl seemed a bit scared and hesitated before saying,
Just give me some scattered primordial crystals.
Scattered primordial crystals were not valuable, not even enough for a meal in a restaurant. They could only buy a few pancakes on the roadside. Lin Moyu was a bit curious. Although Linhai City was a world of cultivators, ordinary people could also live here. They could find suitable jobs, even working as servants in cultivators' homes, without starving. This world was harsh, but not that harsh. Cultivators had their rules, allowing mutual killing, destroying sex with a punch, and slaughtering countless people. But they considered themselves noble and rarely attacked ordinary people. In Linhai City, there were naturally rules to restrain those cultivators. Lin Moyu had seen patrol teams in the sky, probably maintaining order for the Lan family. But in such a situation, why had this little girl fallen to such a state? It was a bit strange. Seeing Lin Moyu not speaking, the little girl seemed a bit scared.
You don't need to give me scattered primordial crystals, just buy me 2 pancakes. If 2 is too much, 1 will do.
As she spoke, the little girl's stomach growled. She seemed a bit shy, covering her stomach with her hands and lowering her head slowly. Lin Moyu smiled.
All right.
He took out a piece of cooked fish and handed it to the little girl.
Eat this first, or you won't have the strength later.
The little girl was stunned, showing some fear in her eyes.
This is too precious. I just want pancakes.
Although she said this, the little girl's eyes still showed some longing. There was also some nostalgia in her longing, a very complex expression that Lin Moyu happened to catch. Lin Moyu asked,
Have you eaten it before?
The little girl nodded.
I have eaten it before.
Lin Moyu said,
Then eat it. This is nothing to me. Eat well and give me a good introduction.
The little girl then carefully took the fish and started eating it in small bites. 2497 2497. Chapter 2497. The Black Hand Behind Xiao Yu. Although the little girl was clearly hungry, she still ate very carefully and not too quickly. When eating the fish meat, the little girl's eyes narrowed into crescent moons, looking very happy, with a taste of happiness. Clearly she had come from a good family background before, having eaten Sea of Realms fish meat when she was young, and had a good upbringing, indicating that her family was not bad in the past. There must have been cultivators in the family, and their realm must not have been too low. For things to become like this now, there must have been some changes. Lin Moyu had no intention of prying. In this world, anything could happen. After eating a few bites, the little girl put away the fish meat. Lin Moyu asked curiously,
Why don't you eat a bit more?
The little girl said,
It's enough to not be hungry. I'll save the rest for later.
She was afraid that once she finished eating, there would be nothing left to eat in the future. Lin Moyu asked,
What's your name, and how old are you this year?
The little girl said,
My name is Xiao Yu. I'm 15 this year.
Lin Moyu was stunned for a moment. The little girl who looked like she was not even 10 years old was actually 15. He didn't believe he could have misjudged. suddenly reaching out to press on Xiao Yu's shoulder. Xiao Yu was startled and instinctively wanted to dodge, but her speed was no match for Lin Moyu's. Lin Moyu pressed down on her.
Don't be afraid, relax.
Lin Moyu's words seemed to have infinite magic power. After Xiao Yu heard them, her whole body immediately relaxed. Only Lin Moyu knew that he had used a bit of soul power to influence the other party's soul. He scanned Xiao Yu's body, seeing clearly that Xiao Yu's bone age was indeed 15 years old. The reason she was 15 years old but looked like a 10-year-old was mainly because she had been injured. There was a force enveloping her body, constantly devouring her life force, which is why she looked so young and thin. This force was extremely vicious, devouring silently without killing her. Doing this was clearly intentional, but Lin Moyu didn't know who would do such a thing or what their purpose was. Removing this force was not a problem for Lin Moyu. It could be solved with a wave of his hand. But he didn't do so. Not knowing who was behind this, he didn't want to cause trouble for now. Lin Moyu let go of his hand.
Now you can explain in detail, starting with these stars. If you explain well, there will be an extra reward.
Hearing there was an extra reward, Xiao Yu immediately happily began to explain.
These stars represent the power levels. The forces in the origin continent can be divided into 9 levels. 1 star is the weakest, 9 stars are the strongest. But it seems there are no 9-star forces. No, it seems there aren't even 8-star forces.
Lin Moyu followed Xiao Yu's words and looked over, seeing that the Fishery Alliance in front of him had 3 stars. It was a 3-star force. The Alchemy Association had 5 stars. It was a 5-star force. The Forging Masters Association also had 5 stars. It was also a 5-star force. A 5-star force was much stronger than the Fishery Alliance's 3-star force, not at all on the same level. Xiao Yu told Lin Moyu everything she knew. But Lin Moyu could also see that what Xiao Yu knew was only superficial, very one-sided information. The Alchemy Association was composed of alchemists, specializing in alchemy and medicine making. Most of the alchemists and medicine makers on the origin continent would join the Alchemy Association. The Forging Masters Association was similar. It was a sect composed of many forging masters, but this sect had no binding force. Many of the forging masters inside actually had other identities, and might also be disciples or elders of other sects. The Forging Masters Association was a relatively loose organization, gathering most of the forging masters to exchange with each other, and its power was not small. In comparison, the Fishery Alliance was much weaker. The Fishery Alliance was mainly composed of some sects on the Sea of Realms that specialized in fishing and selling fish. These sects were basically not strong, so the alliance they formed naturally couldn't be very strong. Xiao Yu knew quite a bit, introducing things to Lin Moyu along the way. Her voice was pleasant to listen to. Although she was already 15 years old, her voice, like her body shape, maintained the clear and tender sound of a 10-year-old. No matter how much one listened, it wouldn't feel annoying. The two of them went around the west of the city, and Lin Moyu also had a general understanding of the various forces. Lin Moyu asked,
Do you know about the Blue family of Coastal City?
Xiao Yu nodded.
Yes, I do. What level of force is the Blue family? 3 stars.
Xiao Yu answered very quickly, without any hesitation. Then she continued,
Sir, if you go to the entrance of the City Lord's mansion, you'll know. There are 3 stars painted under the plaque there.
Lin Moyu laughed.
So that's how it is. Then how exactly are these 1 to 9 stars divided?
This seemed to stump Xiao Yu a bit. Xiao Yu frowned her little face.
I know the difference between 3 stars and 4 stars. To become a 4-star force, you must have a Dao Lord. But I don't know about the levels above that.
Lin Moyu asked curiously.
Doesn't the City Lord's family have a Dao Lord?
Xiao Yu first nodded, then shook her head.
They probably don't. If they had a Dao Lord, they should be a 4-star force. But Xiao Yu isn't very sure. Maybe Xiao Yu is mistaken.
Lin Moyu said.
Where did Xiao Yu learn so much from?
Xiao Yu said.
Grandpa told me, but Grandpa is no longer here now. Only Xiao Yu is left alone.
As she spoke, Xiao Yu revealed a hint of sadness. Lin Moyu didn't ask further. From Xiao Yu's words, he could already hear that she was the only one left, meaning her parents were also gone. Xiao Yu's bright eyes were a bit moist. She tried hard not to let herself cry. Lin Moyu said,
"Your grandpa must have been a very knowledgeable person."
Xiao Yu nodded.
Yes, Grandpa knew everything. He often told Xiao Yu stories, telling Xiao Yu many things about the origin continent.
Lin Moyu said,
It seems Xiao Yu's grandpa was a very powerful cultivator. How did he pass away?
Xiao Yu said,
Grandpa said he had something to do, he was going to a place, and then he never came back.
So that's how it was. Lin Moyu had thought Xiao Yu's grandpa was no longer in this world, but it turned out he was missing. That being the case, it's not certain that he's dead. Suddenly, Lin Moyu's eyelid twitched, and he looked to the side. In an alley, Lin Moyu saw a pair of slightly dark eyes. These eyes made eye contact with Lin Moyu for a moment, then disappeared. Lin Moyu saw clearly that the owner of the eyes was not human, but an eyeball-shaped magical treasure. This magical treasure was very well hidden, but unfortunately it couldn't escape his notice.
It's not aimed at me, but at Xiao Yu. Is this the black hand behind Xiao Yu? What is this guy's purpose? I hope you don't come to provoke me.
After knowing that there was likely no Dao Lord in Coastal City, Lin Moyu felt much more at ease. With his trump cards, as long as no Dao Lord appeared, he really didn't need to be afraid. Lin Moyu casually asked,
How long has Xiao Yu's grandpa been gone?
Xiao Yu calculated the time.
Grandpa has been gone for 6 years.
6 years. 6 years ago, Xiao Yu was only 9 years old. That is to say, within a year after her grandpa left, that guy made his move. From this, it can be deduced that the target they wanted to deal with was Xiao Yu, not Xiao Yu's grandpa. But what could be gained from dealing with a little girl who didn't even know how to cultivate? Lin Moyu always believed that most cultivators don't act without benefit, without a purpose for profit. They wouldn't easily make a move. Lin Moyu asked,
Why doesn't Xiao Yu cultivate?
Xiao Yu said,
Grandpa did teach Xiao Yu cultivation, but said formal cultivation could only start after 12 years old. Xiao Yu has tried, but it had no effect.
Lin Moyu had examined Xiao Yu's body earlier and knew why she couldn't cultivate. It was that force in Xiao Yu's body that caused Xiao Yu to be unable to cultivate. Lin Moyu's gaze shifted slightly, and he took out another piece of roasted fish meat to give to Xiao Yu.
This is your extra reward. Now I want to go to the market in the north of the city to take a look. Do you want to earn another portion of fish meat?
Xiao Yu took the fish meat and happily called out,
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
2498, 2498. Chapter 2498. Compassion, Innate Jade Soul. The market in the north of the city is the main trading center of Coastal City. Although there are transactions in other places, such as various shops, the main concentration is still in the north of the city. There is an array here that covers and monitors the entire market. The Blue family has dispatched a large number of personnel to maintain order. Forced buying and selling are not allowed in the market. Only fair trade is permitted. The Blue family uses the oldest and most primitive system. They only rent out trading spaces and do not interfere with the content of the transactions. Lin Moyu wandered around here, with the small and thin Xiao Yu following closely behind, occasionally explaining things to Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu also noticed that Xiao Yu didn't actually know much about the market, probably because her grandfather hadn't told her stories about this aspect. Xiao Yu's grandfather wasn't her biological grandfather. According to Xiao Yu, she was picked up by her grandfather outside. And her grandfather wasn't from Coastal City. He was only living in Coastal City because of some matters.
In the trading market, all the stalls are managed by the city lord's family. Each stall has to pay 1 first-level origin crystal per day.
Normally, when cultivators refer to origin crystals, they mean ordinary grade origin crystals. If it's a premium grade, it will be specifically mentioned. As for world class, they basically won't appear in the trading market and will only be auctioned in major chambers of commerce. When the little girl mentioned origin crystals, her eyes lit up. Even a first-level origin crystal was an unattainable wealth for her. Previously, when she asked Lin Moyu for payment, it was just some scattered origin crystals. Her small body had been harmed by someone, and although she was 15 years old, she looked only 10. Even cultivation had become a luxury. In the origin continent, there are indeed many ordinary people. Ordinary people have very short lives, only about 100 years, and many can live peacefully to old age. But ordinary people are too humble and have no status. Cultivators can harm ordinary people, but they disdain to do so. If someone really kills ordinary people, no one will stand up for these ants. Compared to the great world, the lives of ordinary people in the origin continent are much harder. Xiao Yu looked at the dazzling array of materials and supplies, listening to prices that were astronomical to her, and her eyes occasionally showed envy. Lin Moyu asked,
"Have you been here before?"
Xiao Yu nodded.
"Sometimes Grandpa would bring me here, but I was very young then."
Lin Moyu said,
"You must have had a good life back then."
Xiao Yu's eyes showed a hint of nostalgia.
"Grandpa was very good to me. He always bought lots of delicious and fun things. But after Grandpa left, my house was taken over by others, and I was driven out."
Lin Moyu frowned slightly.
"You have no place to live?"
Xiao Yu shook her head.
"I do. I built a small house in a bridge hole in the west of the city, and I live there alone."
Lin Moyu asked.
"Aren't you afraid?"
Xiao Yu said,
"I am, but I want to wait for Grandpa to come back. As long as Grandpa comes back, Xiao Yu won't be afraid."
What an understanding child. Lin Moyu hadn't seen such a pitiful person in many years. In the great world, the rules are perfect. Even ordinary people can live well for a lifetime, at least not having to sleep in the open. Lin Moyu had never seen such a miserable person in the great world. If there were, the human emperor would have intervened long ago. Lin Moyu couldn't help but reach out and touch Xiao Yu's head. Her hair was very soft. Although she was 15, she looked like a 10-year-old. Lin Moyu even felt a bit of compassion, wanting to help Xiao Yu remove the evil force in her body and restore her to normal. But Lin Moyu only thought about it and didn't take action. The black hand behind the scenes hadn't shown up yet. Even if he wanted to help Xiao Yu, there was no rush. The two walked through rows of individual stalls, hearing countless shouts and bargaining. Lin Moyu didn't see anything he needed along the way. Xiao Yu was very smart and also saw that Lin Moyu wasn't looking to buy anything, just wandering around. Leaving the market, the noise suddenly quieted down. At the end of the market, several exquisite buildings stood like palaces.
Xinyun Chamber of Commerce, 4-star force. Blackfish Chamber of Commerce, 3-star force. Waterdrop Chamber of Commerce, 3-star force.
These palaces belonged to various chambers of commerce. If you couldn't find what you wanted in the market or had something valuable to sell, you could go to the chambers of commerce. Of course, the prices at the chambers of commerce would be slightly higher, but their credibility was not an issue. Lin Moyu said,
"There's no Lu Feng Chamber of Commerce."
Xiao Yu said,
"I know this. Grandpa said that the Lu Feng Chamber of Commerce is too big, and small places like Coastal City don't catch its eye."
Lin Moyu smiled and asked,
"How big is the Lu Feng Chamber of Commerce?"
Xiao Yu shook her head.
"I don't know. Grandpa said it's very big, one of the largest chambers of commerce in the origin continent."
Previously, Waterstop Celestial Lord had told Lin Moyu about the power structure in the origin continent. Among the human forces in the southern continent, the strongest are the 4 Holy Lands, followed by 3 super sects and 2 super families. But Waterstop Celestial Lord hadn't been to the origin continent for a long time, so his information was somewhat outdated. Lin Moyu didn't enter the chambers of commerce. For now, he had nothing to buy. Gurgle. Xiao Yu's stomach growled again. They had been walking for most of the day, and the 2 small bites of fish meat Xiao Yu had eaten earlier had long been digested. Xiao Yu held her stomach, looking a bit embarrassed. Lin Moyu smiled.
"Let's go. You've had a hard day. I'll take you to eat."
Xiao Yu quickly shook her head.
"No need, no need. Xiao Yu has fish meat." One piece of fish meat can last many days.
For ordinary people, one piece of fish meat can indeed last many days. If Xiao Yu ate sparingly, it could last 10 days or half a month. But Lin Moyu didn't agree.
Just accompany me to eat. There will be an extra reward after eating.
Xiao Yu's eyes lit up when she heard the words.
Extra reward?
She had already received 4 pieces of fish meat today. 4 pieces of fish meat were enough to keep her from going hungry for many days. If there was an extra reward, Xiao Yu felt that her good days were coming. Lin Moyu took Xiao Yu to a random restaurant, ordered a few dishes, and a pot of wine. When the dishes were served, Lin Moyu drank slowly, his thoughts drifting back to the past. In the past, when he ate at home, his beloved wife always accompanied him at the table, chatting and laughing, making it very lively. Now he was alone.
Where are you all?
Lin Moyu sighed softly, feeling a bit helpless. Xiao Yu looked at the delicious dishes, her big eyes shining, and she was drooling. Suddenly seeing Lin Moyu sigh, she was so scared that she didn't dare move. Lin Moyu chuckled.
I was just thinking about something. Don't mind me. Eat more.
Xiao Yu responded with an
"Oh."
And secretly glanced at Lin Moyu.
Sir, you seem a bit unhappy.
Lin Moyu was a bit surprised.
How do you know?
Xiao Yu cautiously said.
I don't know why, but Xiao Yu can just feel that you are a bit unhappy.
Lin Moyu looked at her and seemed to realize something. His voice suddenly became low.
Xiao Yu, relax, don't resist.
His voice carried infinite magic power, and Xiao Yu immediately relaxed. Lin Moyu gently touched Xiao Yu's forehead with his finger. In an instant, he saw Xiao Yu's soul and understood why she could sense his emotions. Xiao Yu's soul was crystal clear, an innate jade soul. 2499 2499. Chapter 2499. Suffering cannot erase a pure heart. Xiao Yu is an innate jade soul. A soul appearing in jade form requires at least reaching the true God realm. Xiao Yu is an innate jade soul, which means her soul realm was innately at the true God level. Moreover, the existence of an innate jade soul cultivates extremely quickly, making it a rare sacred body for cultivation. Waterstop Celestial Lord had mentioned to Lin Moyu about several powerful cultivation physiques on the Origin continent, and the innate jade soul was one of them. If discovered, many major forces would try to recruit someone with an innate jade soul as a disciple. To put it bluntly, even a family like the Blue family of Coastal City is not qualified to take Xiao Yu as a disciple. At the very least, it would take a 4-star force with a Tao Lord to qualify to cultivate Xiao Yu.
Could it be because of the innate jade soul that someone targeted Xiao Yu? But it shouldn't be. If it were because of Xiao Yu's innate jade soul, they should have immediately taken her as a disciple. If it were an enemy, they should have killed her immediately to avoid future troubles. Using such underhanded means to prevent Xiao Yu from growing up and cultivating, what is the purpose?
This method is too crude. Any slightly powerful celestial lord could easily remove it. Lin Moyu believed that the other party must have another purpose. Xiao Yu's soul sensitivity far exceeds that of ordinary people, which is why she can sense some of his subtle emotions. Lin Moyu suddenly felt a sense of appreciation.
If I take Xiao Yu as a disciple, it might be a good choice. This little girl has a pure heart. Although she has suffered a lot, she still maintains a pure and innocent heart. This is very similar to Little Mist. As long as she has the right cultivation method and enough resources, her cultivation speed will likely exceed everyone's expectations.
Lin Moyu withdrew his hand, contemplating the pros and cons. Xiao Yu stared at Lin Moyu with wide eyes while swallowing her saliva. It seemed as if she was asking,
Can I eat now?
Gurgle. Her stomach growled in protest, and Lin Moyu snapped back to reality, laughing.
Why aren't you eating?
Xiao Yu asked cautiously.
Can I eat now?
Lin Moyu was amused by Xiao Yu's demeanor.
Go ahead, eat as much as you want. If it's not enough, we'll order more.
Xiao Yu finally began to eat heartily, feeling at ease. She ate elegantly, not like someone who had been starving for 3 days and wolfing down food. It was clear that Xiao Yu's grandfather had taught her many principles. Lin Moyu noticed that Xiao Yu's appetite was actually quite good. When she ate the fish earlier, she only took 2 bites and said she was full, but in reality it was to save for the future.
What a sensible and clever little girl.
The dishes Lin Moyu ordered were all finished by Xiao Yu alone. Lin Moyu barely touched them, just sipping his wine slowly. After Xiao Yu finished eating, Lin Moyu paid the bill and left. As they left the restaurant, Lin Moyu asked with a smile,
Are you full?
Xiao Yu patted her stomach.
I'm full, thank you, sir. But this meal was too expensive.
Lin Moyu said,
As long as you're full.
In reality, it wasn't that expensive, just 1 first-level origin crystal. But in Xiao Yu's eyes, it was too costly. If it were flatbread, it could last her many, many days. The lunar origin hung high, and the origin energy, carrying a chill, fell from the lunar origin, spreading throughout the origin continent. The night in Coastal City was still lively, with many colorful lights and bustling activities that only appeared at night. Lin Moyu escorted Xiao Yu back to the west of the city, watching her return to her home. Under an unnamed bridge, a few wooden planks formed an extremely simple space where Xiao Yu curled up. This was Xiao Yu's home. Since her grandfather left and she was driven out, she had been living here. Lin Moyu didn't ask her why she was driven out or who drove her out, as it wasn't important. After returning to her home, Xiao Yu poked her head out and waved to Lin Moyu, calling out in her tender and pleasant voice,
Thank you, sir.
The lunar light fell like cold water, and Xiao Yu's smile appeared particularly bright. Suffering had not made Xiao Yu humble. She remained pure. Lin Moyu turned and left, deep in thought. He knew that as long as he stayed here, the black hand behind the scenes would not show up. If he truly wanted to take Xiao Yu as a disciple, he would have to deal with this black hand. The brocade robe lich appeared, and the brocade robe night walk was activated. The brocade robe lich silently returned to Xiao Yu's home. Through the brocade robe lich's vision, Lin Moyu saw Xiao Yu curled up and already asleep. Walking around all day was indeed tiring for such a little girl. She was covered with a quilt woven from many dried wild grasses. Xiao Yu's sleeping face had a sweet smile, perhaps dreaming of many delicious foods. The 4 pieces of fish meat were treasured and kept close to her. Even in her sleep, she held her pocket tightly. These were her rations for many days to come and must not be lost. Lin Moyu's heart stirred, and the brocade robe lich slowly landed on Xiao Yu, becoming her new, warmer quilt. Lin Moyu faced the lunar origin and left Coastal City. To the north of Coastal City, there were several wild mountains. The wild mountains were not high, only a few thousand meters, considered short on the origin continent. The forests here were not dense, inhabited by some wild beasts. These wild beasts were not strong, the strongest being at most in the transcendent realm. Near the wild mountains, there were some villages where hunters lived by hunting these wild beasts. Lin Moyu chose a wild mountain and selected a relatively flat area. He quickly drew some runes, forming a simple rune array. The array emitted a faint mist, just enough to cover the area. Then he returned to the Rule World, where those who had decided to leave were already prepared. They brought what they deemed useful based on their understanding of the origin continent. Seeing Lin Moyu, the 48 people saluted simultaneously.
Greetings, World Master.
Their expressions showed excitement and anxiety. Some even seemed hesitant. Lin Moyu directly opened the portal to the origin continent.
Since you've decided, let's be straightforward. Make the soul oath as required, and you can leave.
Beyond the portal was the origin continent, and above the portal hung a gourd, the cause and effect gourd. The cause and effect gourd would sever their ties with the great world. Once they entered the portal, they would have no more connection with the great world. Now that the great world belonged to Lin Moyu, this also meant severing their ties with Lin Moyu. Even those who mastered the great way of cause and effect wouldn't be able to trace Lin Moyu through them. This way, even if they caused trouble outside, it wouldn't be traced back to Lin Moyu. After all, those being released were not ordinary people but supreme beings. The people they could provoke were at least of the same level, possibly even Dao Lords. Before establishing a firm foothold, Lin Moyu needed to ensure his absolute safety. No amount of caution was too much. The three celestial lords, with firm Dao hearts, immediately made their oaths and entered the portal. Then, one by one, the supreme beings followed suit, making their soul oaths and entering the portal. In no time, all 48 people had entered the origin continent. The moment they set foot on the origin continent, its power entered their bodies, marking them one by one. Lin Moyu said,
"Once you're ready, you can leave on your own. 100 miles south is Coastal City. You can go there or elsewhere. I hope you all take care, and we may meet again in the future."
After speaking, Lin Moyu turned and left. From now on, these people had no more connection with him. They all saluted Lin Moyu.
"Thank you, World Master."
Everyone knew that Lin Moyu could have chosen not to let them go. But not only did Lin Moyu let them go, he also gave them origin crystals, showing great kindness. 2500. Chapter 2500. This is a rare gem. The departure of the three celestial lords and 45 supreme beings had some impact on the great world's origin. However, these impacts were still within a controllable range. As long as Lin Moyu was willing, he could make up for it at any time. The current great world's origin is much stronger than the great world's origin in ancient times. Especially after merging with the rule world, the origin became even more stable, and a small loss was nothing. Lin Moyu stepped on the rosy clouds and returned to Coastal City. A smile appeared at the corner of his mouth.
Finally, it has surfaced.
After he left, the black hand hidden behind the scenes finally revealed itself. A man in black silently appeared under the bridge. He took out a bowl-shaped magical treasure and directly covered Xiaoyu. Lin Moyu did not let the brocade robe lich resist, allowing the other party to act. Xiaoyu was just an ordinary person, without knowing anything. She was taken away by the magical treasure without feeling anything. Along with Xiaoyu, the brocade robe lich was also taken away. Lin Moyu used the brocade robe lich as a coordinate and followed. The man in black took Xiaoyu towards the east of Coastal City, then circled around and headed south, finally arriving at the southeast corner of Coastal City. The southeast corner of Coastal City is a residential area where many Coastal City residents live. The closer to the corner, the lower the status and position of the residents. The place where the man in black went was inhabited almost entirely by ordinary people. Lin Moyu sneered inwardly.
"Going to a place where ordinary people live is quite safe. As long as you are careful enough, ordinary people won't notice. Xiaoyu is also just an ordinary person now. Dealing with an ordinary person won't cause any commotion. However, from this, it can be seen that he doesn't want others to know what he is doing."
Lin Moyu followed slowly, not in a hurry. With the brocade robe lich there, Xiaoyu would not be in danger. Moreover, the other party had made arrangements years ago, not intending to kill Xiaoyu but having another purpose. After the other party arrived at the destination, his aura suddenly disappeared. Lin Moyu sensed that an array had been activated, concealing the other party's aura. The other party was very cautious. If it weren't for his soul being sharp enough, he probably wouldn't have sensed it. But now, the brocade robe lich had become the best guiding light. Through the brocade robe lich's vision, Lin Moyu saw the true face of the man in black and also saw other people. The man in black released Xiaoyu from the magical treasure. Xiaoyu was still asleep, completely unaware of what was happening outside. At this moment, the man in black took off his hood, revealing his true face. He was a middle-aged cultivator with a cultivation level reaching the Supreme Being realm. In front of him was a young man with a cultivation level in the Beyond realm, not even reaching the Saint Lord realm. Although the young man's realm was not as high as the middle-aged man's, it seemed that he was the true master. The young man had a clean and fair appearance, not particularly handsome, but he was a refined gentleman. However, his eyes were extremely gloomy, ruining his entire temperament. The middle-aged Supreme Being spoke with a hint of respect.
Young master, the person has been brought back, but she is not yet 16.
The young man's voice was as gloomy as his temperament.
There are still 3 months left. We will keep her here for 3 months.
The middle-aged supreme being seemed a bit worried.
What if someone finds out? Ha ha!
The young man sneered.
Uncle Le, you are too cautious. This is not the first time we have done this. When have we ever had any trouble?
Uncle Lu, the supreme being, was still worried.
But before, it was only a few days. This time, it's 3 months. The longer the night, the more dreams.
The young man shook his head.
Whether it's 3 months or a few days, there's no difference if we keep her here.
Uncle Lu seemed helpless. It was clear that he was very conflicted, but had to obey the young man's orders. Lin Moyu heard these words and seemed to understand that 16 was a threshold. He thought to himself,
Why must it be 16? Is it a rule of Coastal City?
At this moment, he noticed a change in the young man's eyes. The gloomy eyes revealed a hint of impatience, full of evil intent.
What a rare gem! I've waited 5 years for this. Compared to her, the previous ones were all trash.
The young man scanned Xiao Yu with a lustful gaze. Lin Moyu's heart instantly ignited with anger. He clearly felt the young man's true thoughts, a disgusting and filthy thought. Uncle Lu sighed.
Young master, if the family head finds out about this.
The young man snorted.
He wouldn't care. He only knows how to cultivate and wouldn't bother with me. Don't worry, I'll be very careful and won't leave any evidence. If it weren't for that guy who appeared today, I wouldn't be in such a hurry. Just a few months, I could have kept her outside for a few months.
Uncle Lu said.
Actually, that person might have acted unintentionally. Maybe it was just a coincidence.
The young man sneered.
Better safe than sorry. What if that person meddles? What if that person is like me? Keep those disgusting thoughts to yourself.
A sudden voice startled the two of them. The young man jumped up like a frightened hedgehog.
Who's there?
Uncle Li's face changed dramatically. He quickly formed a hand seal, and the array was immediately activated. An eye-shaped magical treasure flew out of his hand, went outside the array, and began to scan the surroundings. Before the eye-shaped magical treasure could see clearly, there was a soft sound, and Uncle Le groaned. With a look of disbelief, he said,
The demon eye has been destroyed.
The young man panicked.
Do you know who it is?
Uncle Lu shook his head.
I don't know, but it is likely the person from today.
The young man screamed.
I knew it, that guy is going to ruin my plans.
Uncle Lu controlled the array, hoping to use it to block Lin Moyu.
Young master, I'll hold him off. You must leave quickly.
He knew very well that what the young man was doing was against the rules. But as long as they weren't caught in the act, with the young man's status, nothing would happen. The young man clearly didn't want to leave.
No, I can't. I've waited 5 years for this gem. How can I miss it?
With a lustful look in his eyes, the young man was about to pounce on Xiao Yu. The young man screamed.
Uncle Lu, what are you doing?
Uncle Lu said.
Since the young master won't leave, we can only kill her.
Killing Xiao Yu and destroying the evidence was also a method. Uncle Lu was ruthless. Without waiting for the young man to object, he struck towards Xiao Yu with his palm. With his supreme being power, a single thought was enough to kill Xiao Yu. Now, with this palm strike, Xiao Yu would be utterly annihilated, turned to ashes, truly destroying the evidence.
Useless.
Lin Moyu's voice sounded again, and a faint light suddenly appeared on Xiao Yu's body. An invisible great way emerged, enveloping Xiao Yu. The brocade robe lich activated the Great Way's protection, shielding Xiao Yu. Even an attack from a low-level celestial lord could be blocked a few times. Uncle Lu, a mere supreme being, couldn't break through the Great Way's protection. His attack was like a mud bull entering the sea, not even causing a ripple.
Que l'ES fasse changer dramatiquement.
The power of the Great Way run.
Anyone who could invoke the power of the Great Way must be a celestial lord, and not an ordinary one. Seeing this, Uncle Lu no longer wanted to fight. He just wanted to escape. He grabbed the young man and rushed out of the house, fleeing into the distance without caring about anything else. 2501 2501. Chapter 2501. I'm not satisfied with the Blue family's rules. Uncle Lu grabbed the young man like a chicken and fled frantically. They fled very far, rushing out of Linhai City and escaping into the distance. Uncle Lu had not lost his senses. He quickly fled to the outskirts, clearly not wanting to expose his identity. He used all his strength, almost reaching his life's peak, as fast as lightning, covering thousands of miles in an instant. In the blink of an eye, he had already taken the young man out of Linhai City. Once out of Linhai City, his heart settled, and he immediately breathed a sigh of relief. Suddenly, the scene before his eyes changed dramatically, as if time was flowing backwards. He felt himself involuntarily flying back. When he came to his senses, he found himself back in Linhai City. What had just happened seemed like a dream bubble. Uncle Lu looked down and saw his young master, also with a terrified expression. Uncle Lu knew he had encountered an unimaginably terrifying being. Without thinking, he flew directly towards the city lord's mansion. Earlier, he didn't want to expose his identity, but now he had no choice. He knew that only by entering the city lord's mansion could they survive. Linhai City wasn't large. At his speed, he instantly rushed into the city lord's mansion. But before he could breathe a sigh of relief, Lin Moyu's cold voice came to his ears.
So you're from the Blue family.
As the voice sounded, the scene in his vision shattered. Uncle Lu found himself still in the small room. Little Yu was still on the ground, sleeping soundly, surrounded by the power of the great Tao. His young master was also nearby, dumbfounded, not in his hands. Uncle Lu was thoroughly frightened, his face ashen, lips trembling.
It was all an illusion just now.
He realized that he had fallen into an illusion earlier. Everything he saw was an illusion, including his own reactions. But this illusion was too real. The Linhai City in the illusion was exactly the same as the real Linhai City. This also caused him, in his panic, to think of fleeing back to his family for protection, ultimately exposing his true identity. He knew very well that these things he had done were not supposed to be known by others. Uncle Lu saw Lin Moyu casually pass through the formation he had set up and enter the room. On the surface, Lin Moyu appeared to be only a low-level heavenly venerate, but Uncle Lu felt that Lin Moyu's strength was far beyond that of a low-level heavenly venerate. Lin Moyu waved lightly, and the brocade-robed lich carrying Little Yu flew up. At the same time, a world of rules rose behind Lin Moyu, taking Little Yu in. Although protected by the brocade-robed lich, Lin Moyu wasn't sure if the other party had any special means. After all, these were people from the Blue family. To become the city lord of Linhai City, they must have other methods. They were afraid of the unexpected, and so was Lin Moyu. With Little Yu entering the world of rules, she was naturally safe. Uncle Lu didn't dare to make any move, nor did he dare to stop Lin Moyu.
Senior, we are from the Blue family. I hope you can spare us for the sake of the Blue family.
Lin Moyu smiled.
That will depend on your performance. First, tell me why you treated Little Yu like this.
Uncle Lu was about to speak when Lin Moyu suddenly waved his hand to stop him.
I don't want to hear you speak. I want to hear him speak.
Kujun appeared beside Lin Moyu, reaching out to touch Uncle Lu. Immediately, a vast power restrained Uncle Lu. Uncle Lu turned into a wooden man, unable to speak. His whole body unable to move except for his eyes, just standing there stiffly. Uncle Lu sensed Kujun's aura, his eyes filled with despair. Lin Moyu lightly pointed at the young man.
Speak, explain everything clearly.
The young man shuddered, his eyes becoming unfocused, his voice extremely cold.
I, Lan Tianyu, am a direct descendant of the Blue family. In Lehigh City, who dares to touch me? What's wrong with me playing with a woman? I didn't play with anyone under 16. But 16-year-old women are too old. This young master doesn't like old women. I don't know which bastard made the rule that women under 16 can't be touched. Fine, this young master will follow your rule.
His laughter grew colder and more lascivious.
Fortunately, this young master has a way. You want 16 years old? This young master will make them grow to 16 years old. Then,
Lin Moyu snorted lightly.
enough!
Lan Tianyu's head tilted, and he immediately shut his mouth. Lin Moyu continued to ask,
Over the years, how many women have you harmed?
Lang Tiani Mumbel.
Not many, just 27. It's not interesting, really not interesting. They die as soon as you play with them, not interesting.
Lin Moyu's brows furrowed tightly.
Doesn't the Blue family manage this?
Lang Tiani Loget Lauli.
They want to manage it, but how can they? Kill this young master? Besides, this young master didn't do it openly. This young master just said that this young master recommended them to cultivate in other sections. Their families can't thank this young master enough. How would they manage?
Uncle Lee's eyes were wide open. He wanted to stop this, but he couldn't. Lin Moyu's gaze was now ice cold.
According to your family's rules, how should someone like you be punished?
Lang Tianisne.
If it were someone else, they would naturally be killed. But I'm a direct descendant. At most, I'd just be confined for a while.
Lin Moyu became increasingly calm.
So these are the Blue family's rules. Indeed, quite good.
These words made Uncle Le shudder. Although the tone was calm, it was full of killing intent. Lin Moyu said softly,
I'm not very satisfied with the Blue family's rules. Since that's the case, we won't follow the Blue family's rules.
Saying this, he glanced at Uncle Lu. Uncle Lee's heart was filled with fear. The next second, Ko Jun's power erupted. Uncle Lu let out a muffled groan, his soul annihilated and dying on the spot. Faced with a mid-level heavenly venerate, Uncle Lu, who was only a low-level supreme being, didn't have any ability to resist. Then Lin Moyu flicked out a ball of flame, turning Uncle Lu into a man of fire. Spell: Resurrection of the Dead. Uncle Lu, who had just died, became a resurrected being in the flames. Lin Moyu did the same to Lan Tianyu, killing him and turning him into a resurrected being. Lin Moyu turned and left, erasing all traces of his presence, even erasing the time imprint. Even if someone used time reversal, they wouldn't be able to find the source. Lin Moyu returned to the small courtyard he had rented and made himself a pot of good tea.
The good show is about to begin.
Seconds later, with a thunderous boom, an explosion erupted from the southeast corner of Linhai City. Uncle Lu, carrying Lan Tianyu, shot up into the sky, arriving above the city lord's mansion like lightning. Uncle Lu released all his aura, immediately attracting the attention of countless people. The two were under a huge tie in origin very conspicuous. In Linhai City, someone immediately recognized Lan Tianyu's identity. The direct descendant of the Blue family, quite a few people knew him. Many people were puzzled, looking at Lan Tianyu, not knowing what he was going to do. Lan Tianyu suddenly burst into laughter.
I, Lan Tianyu, have been playing with 16-year-old girls for 30 years, a total of 27. The first one was named.
Lan Tianyu recounted his crimes, one by one, in detail. He used all his strength, his voice so loud it resounded throughout Linhai City. The entire Linhai City was in an uproar. Everyone was shocked. Although ordinary people had low status, all forces had rules not to easily deal with ordinary people. In fact, killing an ordinary person wasn't a big deal, but what Lan Tianyu had done was despised by everyone. If no one knew about these things, what's done is done. But once it was said out loud, Lan Tianyu would inevitably be punished, and the reputation of the Blue family would also be damaged. As the lord of a city, the Blue family needed not only strength but also reputation. Everyone knew that Lan Tianyu was finished.
Shut up!
An angry roar. A heavenly venerate from the Blue family made a move, wanting to stop Lan Tianyu. Uncle Lu also made a move, actively meeting the opponent using his body to block the attack. 2502. Chapter 2502. Compensation? You have no chance. With a thunderous boom, the heavenly venerate from the Blue family was forcibly repelled. Uncle Lu used his body to block the attack and was instantly killed. As a resurrected being, he would self-destruct upon death. The power of his self-destruction was even stronger than when he was alive, surprisingly blocking the heavenly venerate. In the eyes of others, Uncle Lu, as a supreme being, chose to self-destruct just to make Lan Tianyu continue confessing his crimes. A giant formation appeared in the sky, confining the power of Uncle Li's self-destruction within a certain range. At the same time, a large formation appeared on the ground of Linhai City, blocking the impact of Uncle Li's self-destruction. Otherwise, the power of a supreme being's self-destruction would have destroyed most of Linhai City. Uncle Li's self-destruction bought Lan Tianyu a little more time. Lan Tianyu ignored everything and continued to enumerate his crimes.
The 18th one.
Another angry roar came from the city lord's mansion.
I told you to shut up.
Another heavenly venerate charged at Lan Tianyu. But suddenly, a high-level heavenly venerate appeared beside Lan Tianyu. Chang Hongguang appeared next to Lan Tianyu and struck down with a palm, directly repelling the Blue family's heavenly venerate. 8 people from the Blue family ascended into the sky, including the Blue family head, Lan Qingzheng, and 7 other heavenly venerates. Lan Qingzheng, as the strongest in the Blue family, had the combat power of a peak heavenly venerate, stronger than Chang Hongguang was in life. However, Chang Hongguang, now a resurrected being, had surpassed his former strength, enough to delay Lan Qingzheng for a while. If he were to die in battle, he could self-destruct and even drag Lan Qingzheng down with him. Lan Qingzheng said in a deep voice,
Why are you stopping my Blue family?
Chang Hongguang replied expressionlessly,
Let him finish.
Lan Qingzheng's face darkened.
This is an internal matter of my Blue family.
Chang Hongguang snorted coldly.
It's no longer just an internal matter, and it's not just me who wants to hear it. I believe the fellow Taoists in Linhai City also want to hear it.
As soon as he finished speaking, voices echoed from Linhai City.
Of course we want to hear it. The young master of the Blue family has done so many interesting things. We naturally want to hear it. Is the Blue family afraid to admit what they've done? I remember that the Coldwater Holy Land has a decree that ordinary people should not be humiliated, and evil deeds should not be committed. Linhai City is also under the jurisdiction of the Coldwater Holy Land. If this matter spreads, I wonder what will happen. This matter has blown up, it can't be hidden. The Coldwater Holy Land will probably send someone. What are you thinking? Linhai City is nothing. Will the Coldwater Holy Land send someone? At most, the 7-colored sect will send someone. If not, even a top 3-star sect can handle it, and the Blue family won't be able to withstand it. That depends on how the Blue family handles it. If the punishment is appropriate, it won't be a problem.
These voices belonged to heavenly venerates who were not afraid of the Blue family, each exuding a powerful aura, seemingly supporting Chang Hongguang. Lan Qingzheng's face was extremely ugly. He didn't know Chang Hongguang's background, but such a high-level heavenly venerate appearing out of nowhere had already made the situation irreparable. He was trembling with anger. As the head of the Blue family, he naturally knew that Lan Tianyu had done many wrong things over the years. But Lan Tianyu was his direct descendant, so he turned a blind eye to some things. However, he didn't expect Lan Tianyu to go mad and confess everything. He suddenly noticed that Lan Tianyu's eyes were not normal. In an instant, his mind was in turmoil.
Someone is targeting my Blue family. Who? Who is targeting my Blue family? Is it the Feng family or the Mu family?
He quickly searched his mind. The Blue family naturally had enemies, and quite a few. All the people he thought of were possible. But thinking about it now was useless. The situation was already in front of him, and he had to decide how to handle Lan Tianyu. Lin Moyu listened to the discussions and gained more understanding of the structure of the origin continent. Above Lin Hai City was the Seven-Colored Sect. The Seven-Colored Sect had 7 branch sects, named after the colors red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. He had dealt with a Tao Venerate named Wei Xin from the Seven-Colored Sect, who had given him a jade token, both a life-saving talisman and a death warrant. Any branch sect under the Seven-Colored Sect was stronger than the Blue family of Lin Hai City. Lin Moyu didn't know the star rating of the Seven-Colored Sect, but it was at least 4 stars, possibly 5. Above the Seven-Colored Sect was the Cold Water Holy Land. The Cold Water Holy Land was the true ruler of this region. There were only 4 holy lands on the entire origin continent, and the Cold Water Holy Land was one of them. As the ruler, the Cold Water Holy Land had set rules, including that evil deeds were a serious crime and must be severely punished. If the Cold Water Holy Land didn't know about it, it would be fine, but once they knew, they wouldn't let it go. Earlier, he wanted to see how the Blue family would react, but now there was no need. As long as the Blue family wasn't foolish, Lan Tianyu would die. Although he was already dead, it didn't prevent him from dying again. Lan Tianyu finally finished confessing all his crimes, ending with Xiaoyu, when he mentioned using malicious means to control a little girl, keeping her at the age of 10 for his amusement. The entire Lin Hai City exploded. This was no longer a matter of severe punishment. It was an unforgivable crime.
Unbelievable, the Blue family disciple is so heartless. Raising a girl from 10 to 16 for his amusement, and she's an orphan. With such a mindset, the higher his cultivation, the more dangerous he becomes, another great demon. His mindset is more terrifying than that of the demon race. If he isn't killed, my Tao heart won't be at peace. I think the Blue family should be thoroughly investigated. If there's one, there might be a second. Indeed, it should be thoroughly investigated.
The discussions continued to reach Lan Qingzheng's ears. If it weren't for Cheng Hongguang blocking him, Lan Qingzheng would have torn Lan Tianyu to pieces. What Lan Tianyu did was already threatening the survival of the Blue family. After Lan Tianyu finished talking about Xiaoyu, Cheng Hongguang said,
All right, we've heard everything we need to hear. Now let's see how the Blue family head handles it.
Lan Qingzheng looked at Cheng Hongguang with a complicated expression.
Who sent you?
Cheng Hongguang laughed.
Blue family head, you should take care of your family's affairs. Don't worry about external matters.
With that, he disappeared without a trace in front of Lan Qingzheng. Lan Qingzheng's face stiffened. Cheng Hongguang's sudden disappearance startled him. He couldn't see how Cheng Hongguang left, which made him even more certain that Cheng Hongguang had backing. Otherwise, a high-level heavenly venerate couldn't have escaped his notice. But so what? The problem now was how to handle Lan Tianyu. Originally, he thought of killing him to give an explanation. But after Lan Tianyu mentioned Xiaoyu, he knew he couldn't kill him. This matter was 1,000 times worse than before. He knew the Cold Water Holy Land would definitely send someone to investigate the Blue family. If this matter wasn't thoroughly investigated, he couldn't explain it. Lan Tianyu couldn't be killed and had to be handed over to the Cold Water Holy Land. The best approach was to report it to the Cold Water Holy Land proactively, rather than waiting for them to find out.
Detain him and wait for me to report this to the Holy Land, and let the Holy Land handle it.
Lan Qingzheng ordered. Several heavenly venerates immediately detained Lan Tianyu and took him away. Lan Qingzheng stood in the void and addressed the entire Lin Hai City.
This is the Blue family's fault. We will compensate all the victims. I will personally report this to the Holy Land, and this sinner will be dealt with by the Holy Land. We will also find the girl Xiaoyu and do our best to compensate her. This incident was an accident. The Blue family banquet scheduled for tomorrow is postponed. We will notify you of the new date.
After saying this, he hurriedly returned to the Blue family, and the drama came to an end. Lin Moyu sat in his small courtyard, sipping fragrant tea, and shook his head slightly.
Compensation? You have no chance.
2503 2503. Chapter 2503. Alive, no one sees him. Dead, no corpse found. The matter of Lan Tianyu had completely blown up. Not only was the entire Linhai city talking about it, but the news quickly spread to other cities as well. It wouldn't be long before the surrounding cities and various forces would hear about this incident. The head of the Blue family, Lan Qingzheng, made the best choice. Not to kill Lan Tianyu, but to hand him over to the Coldwater Holy Land for punishment. If he had killed Lan Tianyu himself, some things would be hard to explain. The Coldwater Holy Land would not believe his one-sided story and would think he was hiding something. He knew that Lan Tianyu was definitely going to die, and it would be a miserable death. He just hoped it wouldn't implicate the Blue family. In front of the Holy Land, the Blue family was nothing more than an ant, not worth mentioning. Lan Qingzheng returned home and immediately summoned the elders. He sat in the main seat, his face gloomy.
Who do you think is targeting us?
Lan Tianyu's sudden behavior could not have been his own decision. There must be a manipulator behind the scenes. Using Lan Tianyu as a lead, they aimed to deal with the Blue family. Several elders of the Blue family were deep in thought but couldn't figure out who it was. The Blue family had many enemies, and there were several significant families in the nearby cities that wanted to deal with the Blue family. The former city lord of Linhai City was from the Feng family. Due to an accident, the Feng family was exterminated, and the Blue family took their place. Although the Blue family became the city lord of Linhai City, their foundation was not that stable. Linhai City was a piece of fat meat, and many forces had their eyes on it. After thinking for a long time, they still couldn't come to a conclusion. They speculated about various possibilities but couldn't produce any concrete evidence. Suddenly, a supreme being rushed in, looking panicked.
Family head, young Master Tianyu is missing.
Lan Qingzheng jumped up in shock.
How did he go missing?
The supreme being said.
He just disappeared, right under my nose.
Lan Qingzheng thought of Cheng Hongguang, who had mysteriously disappeared before, and a chill rose from the depths of his soul, sweeping over his entire body. Lan Tianyu's disappearance was the worst possible outcome, worse than death. The Coldwater Holy Land would definitely want to see him alive or dead. Handing him over alive was naturally the best. If they handed over a corpse, the Holy Land might still have ways to extract information from it. But if he was missing, the Holy Land would think the Blue family was hiding him. This was the worst situation. The Blue family wouldn't be able to explain it, and the Holy Land wouldn't believe them. Lan Qingzheng trembled all over, realizing how terrifying the manipulator behind the scenes was. Without showing themselves, they were already close to bringing the Blue family to ruin. Lan Qingzheng sighed.
The only plan now is to inform the Holy Land. It's better for us to report it proactively than for the Holy Land to find out on their own.
He waved his hand, signaling everyone to leave, and then went to report to the Holy Land. In the courtyard, Lin Moyu watched as the drama came to an end. Lan Tianyu was now in the world of rules. His disappearance was naturally because Lin Moyu had taken him back.
Someone like you doesn't even qualify to become a resurrected being.
With a slight thought, the resurrected Lan Tianyu turned into a wisp of smoke and completely vanished. Lin Moyu took out the karma gourd and severed the last thread of karma between himself, Lan Tianyu, and Uncle Lu. This way, no matter how powerful the people from the Holy Land were, they wouldn't be able to find him. In the upper layer of the world of rules, on a beautiful star with birds singing and flowers blooming, Xiaoyu was sleeping peacefully. She slept soundly, dreaming of endless delicious food. She also dreamed of her grandfather, who took her to buy many interesting toys. Later, she dreamed of Lin Moyu, who was grilling fish for her. Finally, she woke up from her dream. Xiaoyu slowly opened her eyes and saw a beautiful scene. Xiaoyu was stunned. She found herself in a sea of flowers, the view in front of her breathtakingly beautiful.
Where is this place? Am I still dreaming?
Such a beautiful scene could only appear in dreams. Suddenly, her nose twitched as a strange fragrance wafted in. Xiaoyu sniffed like a little cat, determined the source of the fragrance, and then saw Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu was sitting not far away in a delicate pavilion, with many dishes on the table, emitting a tempting aroma. Seeing Lin Moyu, Xiao Yu happily ran over.
Sir, why are you here?
Lin Moyu smiled.
Are you hungry? Want something to eat?
Xiao Yu held her stomach.
I ate a lot before I slept, so I'm not hungry now.
Lin Moyu said.
You'll be hungry soon.
As he spoke, he gently pointed at Xiao Yu. Xiao Yu seemed to know that Lin Moyu wouldn't harm her, so she didn't dodge and relaxed completely. The law of immortality entered Xiao Yu's body, quickly finding the evil force gathered within her. The power of death corroded, while the power of life healed Xiao Yu. For a moment, Xiao Yu felt both hot and cold, painful yet joyful. Her small, thin body trembled continuously, but Xiao Yu didn't dodge, gritting her teeth to endure. She still believed that Lin Moyu wouldn't harm her. Lin Moyu said softly,
Bear with it, it'll be over soon.
Xiao Yu nodded vigorously.
Xiao Yu will endure.
The evil force hidden in Xiao Yu's body was quickly corroded by the power of death, replaced by the power of life, giving Xiao Yu a feeling of soaking in a hot spring.
So comfortable.
Xiao Yu's eyes narrowed into slits, and she let out a comfortable moan. The power of life swept through Xiao Yu's body, providing her with abundant vitality. Xiao Yu's originally thin body began to grow under the nourishment of the power of life. Xiao Yu was now 15 years old, only 3 months away from 16. Previously, due to Lan Tianyu's evil methods, Xiao Yu had maintained the appearance of a 10-year-old. Now that the restriction was lifted, and with the immense power of life, Xiao Yu's body began to grow. She grew taller, and her skin began to stretch tighter and tighter. Her clothes, already full of patches, were torn in several places. The holes grew larger, and Xiao Yu was almost naked. Xiao Yu curiously looked at herself.
What's happening?
Lin Moyu threw over a woman's robe.
Put this on first.
Xiao Yu obediently put on the robe. She moved cautiously, afraid of dirtying the robe.
What a beautiful dress.
Xiao Yu touched the exquisite patterns on the robe. Her eyes filled with joy. Lin Moyu said,
I'll have someone make 2 fitting clothes for you later. Wear this one for now.
Xiao Yu curiously asked,
Mr. Lin, what's going on? Where is this place?
Lin Moyu smiled.
I'll tell you later. Are you hungry?
Just then, Xiao Yu's stomach growled. Xiao Yu had quickly grown from 10 to 15 years old, and her body's growth naturally consumed a lot of energy. She was just an ordinary person and couldn't, like cultivators, convert energy from the air, so it was normal for her to be hungry. So Lin Moyu had prepared a lot of delicious food in advance. Xiao Yu, embarrassed, covered her stomach, which kept protesting. Her eyes were glued to the food on the table, unable to look away. Lin Moyu smiled.
Eat first, we'll talk while eating.
2504 2504 ## chapter 2504 Practicing Boxing for the Master. Lin Moyu did not tell Xiaoya about Lan Tianyu, only mentioning that Xiaoya had been injured, which caused her to remain in the appearance of a 10-year-old. Now that her injury has healed, she has naturally returned to her 15-year-old self. 15-year-old Xiaoya has grown very tall. Her figure is graceful, and her appearance has changed significantly, making it almost impossible to recognize her original look. Supported by a huge life force, what she had lost has now been restored, and she is even better than before. Xiaoya devoured all the dishes on the table, but she still didn't feel full, nor did she feel hungry. Xiaoya felt strange.
How could this happen? How could I eat so much?
Lin Moyu naturally knew why and took out more delicacies. Eat slowly, this is normal. The growth of the body requires a lot of energy. Especially for people like Xiaoya who are born with jade souls, they need more energy. Normally, as Xiaoya gets older, her appetite will improve, far exceeding that of ordinary people. Although her own life force can provide Xiaoya with a lot of energy, some of it will need to be obtained through other means. Before formal training, eating is the best choice. The food prepared by Lin Moyu is not ordinary food. They are all kinds of spiritual objects which contain great energy. Lin Moyu could feel that Xiaoya's soul was greedily absorbing the energy in the food, trying to make up for the losses of these years. Born with a strong jade soul, it is an extremely strong cultivation physique. Even if she does not practice, Xiaoya's soul realm can slowly grow by eating. Once she starts practicing, the speed of Xiaoya's realm growth will be greatly improved. After eating 3 tables of food, Xiaoya finally no longer felt hungry, but she did not feel full either. She could still eat. However, Xiaoya was a little embarrassed and asked cautiously,
Am I too hungry?
Lin Moyu changed a bunch of food.
Eat as much as you want, and I will take care of it.
Xiaoya asked while eating.
Why is the gentleman so good to me?
Xiaoya is very smart, with a pair of big eyes full of spirituality. She naturally knows that Lin Moyu is good to her for a reason. But she can also feel that Lin Moyu has no ill will towards her. Lin Moyu asked,
Is your full name Xia?
Xiaoya shook her head.
I was picked up by my grandfather, but my grandfather did not give me a name, nor did he let me take his surname. He has always called me Xia. My grandfather said that the night he found me, the moon was very bright. So he took the half of the moon and kept calling me Mississippi.
Lin Moyu asked again.
What is Xiaoya's grandfather's surname?
Xiaoya said,
My grandfather doesn't usually tell me, but I heard him mention it once. His surname is Feng.
Feng. Lin Moyu's first reaction was to think of the Feng family in Linhai City. 100 years ago, the Feng family was suddenly exterminated because of an accident. Back then, the Feng family was much stronger than the Lan family, and the Lan family could only rank second in Linhai City. It was because the Feng family was exterminated that the Lan family was able to take over and become the leader of Linhai. Why the Feng family was exterminated has always been a mystery, and no one knows. It is said that someone from the Hanshui Holy Land came and conducted an investigation, but there was no result. In the end, the Hanshui Holy Land let the Lan family take over Linhai City. It was also the order of the Holy Land that prevented some surrounding forces from taking action against the Lan family. This was considered to give face to the Holy Land. Otherwise, with the strength of the Lan family, Linhai City might not be theirs. Lin Moyu thought that Hanshui Holy Land must know some reasons for the strange demise of the Feng family, but just kept it secret. Xiaoya's grandfather's surname was Feng, and he was hiding his name in Linhai City, so there must be a reason. Maybe he is a descendant of the Feng family. However, this has nothing to do with me. I only care about Xiaoya. Lin Moyu said.
Xiaoya must be very curious. Why am I so nice to you?
Xiaoya opened her eyes wide.
Yes, Xiaoya doesn't understand why the master is so nice to me, but Xiaoya knows that the master has no ill will towards Xiaoya.
Lin Moyu touched Xiaoya's head.
People's hearts are not the same as they used to be. Some things can't just be judged by appearance, nor can they just be judged by feelings. I want to take you as my disciple. I wonder if you are willing.
Xiaoya's eyes widened, and she was stunned. After waiting for a few seconds, Xiaoya finally reacted and nodded fiercely.
Yes, squat on top.
Xiaoya was about to kneel down to Lin Moyu, but she still had food in her hands and even in her mouth, and her whole appearance was funny. Lin Moyu smiled.
No need for so many etiquette. I don't care about these here. Eat first, and then I'll take you to make clothes.
Lin Moyu took Xiaoya to the Divine City to find Elder Yen and asked him to refine some magic clothes for Xiaoya. Now that Elder Yen is the supreme, refining clothes is a piece of cake for him. What's more, it was Lin Moyu's request. Elder Yen put aside everything on hand and completed Lin Moyu's request as quickly as possible. Every piece of clothing is a magic weapon, and it is a magic weapon of the supreme realm. When Xiaoya wears it, it not only fits well, but also provides Xiaoya with strong defense and ensures her safety. Xiaoya looked at the new clothes on her body and smiled. Which little girl doesn't like beautiful new clothes? And she is no exception. Lin Moyu did not leave Xiaoya in the world of rules. Xiaoya is from the Origin Continent and needs to practice in the Origin Continent. The yard is still quiet, the formation is open, and no one comes to disturb. At this time, the origin of the sun once again rules the earth. What happened last night has become a joke in Linhai City. It is estimated that at this moment all the major forces around have known it. The speed of news transmission in the origin continent is quite fast. Good or bad, it will not take long for it to reach the ears of all forces. Lin Moyu guessed that Lan Qingzhang would definitely take the initiative to report what happened yesterday to the Hanshui Holy Land. He dared not hide such a thing. After that, he should look for Xiaoya. Among all the disgusting things of Lan Tianyu, the most outrageous one is shower. Using such evil means to amuse oneself for one's hobbies is intolerable. Now that Lan Tianyu is missing, the Lan family will definitely look for Xiaoya. But how can Xiaoya be found so easily? Lin Moyu had long since erased the time mark and used the cause and effect gourd to cut off Xiaoya's cause and effect. In addition, Xiaoya's appearance has changed greatly. Her clothes are gorgeous, and her temperament has also changed greatly. It is difficult to associate her with the Xiaoya in Lan Tianyu's mouth. Xiaoya said with some excitement,
Master, can I practice now?
At this time, Xiaoya was slender, tall, and beautiful. Especially her big eyes seemed to be able to speak. Especially her gorgeous clothes, which exuded a faint mist, made Xiaoya look like a different woman from an ordinary woman. No matter who saw her, they would call her a fairy from the bottom of their hearts. Lin Moyu nodded.
Let me see the practice method left by your grandfather first.
Xiaoya said,
The practice method left by my grandfather was dictated, and Xiaoya recited it to master.
Xiaoya recited the cultivation method left by her grandfather. After listening, Lin Moyu knew that it was just the most basic Yina method. It can absorb the original power between heaven and earth and strengthen itself. But this cultivation method is too low level. According to Lin Moyu, it is better to let Xiaoya eat good food every day. Xiaoya looked at Lin Moyu with her bright big eyes. Her eyes seemed to be able to speak, as if asking Lin Moyu,
How is it?
Lin Moyu touched Xiaoya's head. This set of cultivation method is too ordinary, not worthy of Xiaoya, so the master will change a method for you.
Master will show you a set of boxing. Xiaoya will follow.
2500